I want you to think of a time you were in a large group setting where you didn't know everybody. What did the organizer do? You guessed it, he or she kicked things off by going around having everybody introduce themselves. Now, we've all been there before. Now, I've got a question for you. In the moment, how many of those names and stories did you remember? I'm gonna guess probably not that many. If the group is larger than 6, maybe even as much as 8, you're not going to remember them the first time. Even more so, the process can really take up a long time, and it can pull from the energy that the group brought to start the session. There's a better way to kick things off, but before I tell you what that is, I want you to think for a second. What is the purpose of the introductions anyway? Now, if it's so everybody in the room can get to know everyone, well, you just remembered that that doesn't work very well. Some might say it's to make people feel more comfortable with who's in the room. Now, that's getting closer, but in a lot of situations, the group has been vetted. There might have been an application process to get in, it might have been invite only, they might even be your colleagues, it's just an opportunity to work with some that you've never worked with before. For most of the groups that you're called to work in, you're going to feel like it's okay to work with them because the group has been curated, vetted, or you were invited. The real reason people instinctively want to do intros, and the reason that you should do something to kick off gatherings, is not so the group can know everyone. It's to create openness. The goal is to shift the inner condition of each individual to get them ready for whatever it is that they will be working on and set the stage for the change they want to make. Now, a really great way to do this is to help them connect their own story to why they're there. So how do you do that? Well, there are a lot of ways that you can do that, but today I want to talk specifically about one way to substitute for intros. And hey, if you're getting something out of this video, be sure to like and subscribe. So, here's the tool. This has worked well for me, and I've seen it work well in groups that I'm a part of. If your group is, say, 15 people, rather than take 20 minutes to go through intros, take just 7 minutes and start with small groups of 2 or 3 individuals so they can share their story of why they're there and hear the story of someone else. It's that simple. Then when the group comes back together, be sure to have them share a few greatest hits from their conversations and get right to your next thing. Now, why does this work? You're connecting their identity with their intention so they feel aligned. You're connecting their story to the stories of others. And when you connect identity to the group, a shared intention comes into view. This makes change more likely and more likely to stick. If you've ever read James Clear's Atomic Habits, he has a simple yet powerful premise that closely associates with Simon Sinek's Start With Why principle. Rather than start with the goal of knowing those around you with an intro, start with your identity, and then it reinforces your motivation for being there. Nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to the tribe where your singular identity is shared. And you're giving them a couple of friendly companions that they can turn to in the journey, which is better than just knowing some names. There will be plenty of opportunities to get to know each other. Humans are social animals. They'll get to know each other during the breaks, trust me. Don't get me wrong, knowing who you are working with is important, but the stereotypical intro doesn't accomplish what most think it does. When not facilitated well, some intro questions can actually do the opposite of creating openness by creating labels and anxiety and judgment, especially when hierarchies exist. For instance, in certain groups, you don't need to know what animal I wish I was or what superhero I would be. And stating my job role might be necessary, but oftentimes it wastes time and is wrong for the situation. So, kick things off with momentum by keeping the energy up. Get to work sooner rather than later by not doing things that waste time, by opening people up by connecting their identity to why they're there, and giving them 1 or 2 people that they can connect with early in their journey rather than a cursory view of the whole room. The purpose of kicking things off is not to introduce people. The purpose is to create openness. And now that you know this, go win the day, y'all. Sincerely, your #1 sidekick.